But in '09, I got orders to Kings Bay, and I'll admit, and I tell people this, I came here kicking and screaming. I mean, you can see the claw marks as they drove me to Southeast Georgia. Why would I want to come to the swampy, buggy, smelly, nasty, hot? That was my impression, Allison, because I pulled in here one time when I was on a boat in Groton, and we came in like the middle of like August, and it was miserable for the time we were here. And I really didn't get a chance to see much of anything. But then after a year of being here, right, we learn what everyone learns if you've ever been down here.
I tell them magic happens. I can't explain it, but
I refer to this place routinely as a little slice of heaven.
I was hoping you were going to say that because you always say it.
100% is. It is.
What's up, Camden County? You are catching episode 50 of the Getting in Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Alison Shores from the Camden County Chamber of Commerce. This Getting in Your Business podcast is made possible by our Chairman Circle sponsors, Comcast Business, Georgia's Own, Lockheed, Georgia Power Company, Sparklight, Plug Power, St. Mary's DDA, TDS Telecom, and Amerisbank. Whew. Getting through them sponsor list. All right. Guys, I have somebody very special in the studio, and I am busting at the seams right now to get to talk to him. So we have Captain Chris Bohner from the base, and I'm so excited. Thank you for being here.
Hey, I got to tell you, I'm impressed just how that sort of rolled off the lips. You just rolled right through those list of sponsors, which is fantastic.
I've almost got them memorized, but I don't trust myself to not leave one out, so I'm like...
I can believe it, so it's good. So, no, appreciate it. Thank you for having me here this morning. I'm excited to be here as well.
So you are Captain of Kings Bay Naval Base, correct? Did I say all that right?
Naval Submarine Base, Kings Bay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm never going to get it right, but thank you.
No, that's all right. You're close in. You just say the sub base. Everybody
knows sub-base. So I just say sub-base.
Sub-base is short, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with a little bit about you. So first of all, we have to talk about your name for a second because when I met you, it's spelled Bohner.
Correct.
And I'm like, hi, Captain Bohner. And you're like, nope.
It's Bohner. It's French.
Bohner. That's what it is.
No, it's funny every time. Yes, where the name is unique as mine. Bohner is the last name, Chris Bohner. It's German. So
is it?
Actually, very interesting history if you look at my family. I guess I'm kind of a traitor in some regards because my great grandfather was Nicholas Bohner, Bahner, who was a Hessian soldier captured by George Washington at Valley Forge.
Stop it.
Oh, dead serious. And when the war was over, as a POW, he had two options. You can either go back to Prussia, which is modern day Germany, sort of Poland right now, or you can stay in the U.S. and become a U.S. citizen, swear your allegiance, and go. So he took option B there, set up a home in Pittman, Pennsylvania. And actually, the foundation to the home, his homestead, still found. You can find it in a corner of a cornfield.
Really?
Dead serious. Yeah. So I used to go hunting up around that area when I was a kid.
That is cool.
But yep, that's how my family got started. Along the way, there are many variations of the name: B-A-H, B-O-H, B-O-E-H.
Oh,
it's Bohner.
It's just
same way.
So that was fun growing up, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm a child, so like the first time I was like, I can't call him that. I can't say that. It'll just be Captain. I don't know what else.
You learn to have a really good sense of humor in life.
Yes.
Right? So,
But that's what I love about you. You have such a great sense of humor, just about everything. Like
life builds you to this moment, I suppose.
It does.
And sometimes your parents give you a name that make it that much easier.
Yeah. So where are you from and how did you get to Camden County? And I know that you're going to make this your permanent home. So I want to know all the steps to get here.
Yeah. Funny world. Well, I grew up in this little town, Trevorton, Pennsylvania. We often joke as Pennsylvanians, if you take your right hand and stick your thumb on it, kind of looks like the state.
Yeah.
You stick your finger in the middle of the state where there's a lot of nothing. That's probably close to where I grew up.
Okay.
I think cornfields, coal mines, 15 miles one way to school.
Yeah.
Really small. My graduating class, I think, was like 89 people. But, loving family, grew up in that area. It's very much a blue-collar family, blue-collar world. And I realized that I remember my dad saying something effective, hey, the world expects you to be either strong or smart, you choose. And I looked at opportunities and how I continue to serve. My dad was a Marine. A lot of folks in my family were in the military, Air Force, Army. And so I looked at the Navy and ended up coming in, enlisted in 90, came in 91, July 3rd, as a matter of fact. So
did you just choose to do something different than the rest of your family or?
Okay, so cool story to go with this one. So, back in the day, you think about the rotary phones, right?
Yes.
Didn't have caller ID.
Yeah.
We actually had a party line. So in other words, you shared one phone line with like 4 families. And when all my cousins were going in, what the Army recruiters always ask, right? They say, hey, who do you think wants to come in? So they put my name on that little thing. So who called me every week? The Army recruiter. Hey, you want to join the Army? And every week it was something different. You never do. It's just, I just don't want to talk to this guy. And when I was in school, like a junior, I was like, how do I get this guy to stop calling? And I wanted to go in the Air Force. Truth in lending, I wanted to go in the Air Force.
Okay.
Air Force couldn't offer me anything I wanted. And I was very dejected and disappointed. So I did this research paper on nuclear power for my science class. It just happened to be the topic I got stuck with.
Nuclear power?
Nuclear power, right? It was just a short, like, think like 2-page, 3-page paper as your junior in school.
Okay.
But I learned something. It's like, hey, the Army doesn't have nuclear stuff in it.
Hey.
So if, right, this is teenage brain thinking right here. Hey, if I just tell him I want to do nuke stuff, he'll stop calling me. This is perfect. So I waited and waited, and of course it took 2 or 3 weeks for him to finally call me back. And then when he did, he was like, hey, so still any thoughts about the Army? He's like, yeah. I'm absolutely excited about it. I want to do this nuclear stuff you guys are doing. This is fantastic. I can't wait. This will be exciting. He's like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. That, it's really the Air Force and the Navy. And like, oh yeah, I'm really geeked up on this. This is what I want to do. Totally interested. So, if you don't have it, you might as well just stop calling me. He's like, okay, that's fine. I understand. Hey, we'll stop calling you. Have a great life. Talk to you later. I was like, sweet. Click, hung up. I'm like, I win. Who calls me the next day?
Navy. Air Force?
It was the Navy.
Navy. Okay.
They called me up. I was like, hey, so I hear you want to be a nuke.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Well, I mean, I didn't know that, if you're the recruiter back in the day, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, they're all right side by side.
Right.
So I can only see this guy run across the street. We got a winner.
Yeah.
Right. So things like that. Because evidently, we're a big prize to try to get nukes to come in at the time. It's bigger bonuses for those folks, I suppose. But anyhow, that's how I ended up coming in enlisted. The Navy recruiter talked to me. Had a lot of good things to say and offer about the program, great educational opportunity, good pay, chance to see the world, and I don't regret it one bit. So I mean, it was been a fantastic opportunity. So I left my porch July 2nd, 1991, went to boot camp in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
Recruit Training Command, Orlando, Florida, C-146, Division 5, and I came in as a nuke electrician, and I had a lot of fun with it along the way. Someone convinced me to say, hey, you should consider being an officer. And I initially resisted and like, no. I joke now after the time I've been in, I want to do one tour, get out, go do something, go to college like Embry-Riddle. I wasn't ready to go to college, right?
Right.
I was probably a little more wild.
Oh, me too. I was not ready to go to college when I went.
Navy definitely screwed my head on. That I will definitely agree with that. So, I accepted. I went to North Carolina State University under an officer program. I had to get my degree in 3 years versus 4. So I think summer school, which actually really good. Now, you sound hard, but actually I think a lot of kids, if you ever take summer school, I really appreciate it because it gets the fluff out of the way, you get down to the nitty gritty, and you really, I learned a lot out of the summer classes that you kind of took those. But anyhow, I got my commission from there as officer candidate school. I met the love of my life, my wife, Sheila, there at NC State. She was a cheerleader. I called her a wummel, way out of my league.
What?
A wummel. Way out of my league. So,
okay.
But she was in one of my classes, and one thing led to another, and we ended up getting married here at the end of my college time there. And then from there, it was sort of all in the fast attack submarine world. I know we'll talk a little bit about that, but think Groton, Connecticut. You go through the training pipeline, fast attack submarines on the East Coast, spent some time on the West Coast. And to your point, to Kings Bay, we came here as a family from Hawaii in 2009.
Oh, you came here from Hawaii?
From Hawaii. Hawaii's beautiful. It wasn't necessarily the right fit for us as a family.
Okay.
I will tell you, it was some of the best fun we had as a family. Boogie boarding on Bellows Beach.
Yeah.
Eating Dave's Hawaiian ice cream, watching the sunsets, playing golf. Yeah, I mean, it's an islander's paradise for sure. But that we're definitely East Coast, Mid-Atlantic sort of folk, and getting closer to family and friends. I will say, when we lived in Hawaii, probably the most I've seen family and friends, because everybody wants to come visit you when you're.
Oh yeah, they're like, hey, turns out we want to come visit you.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
But in 2009, I got orders to Kings Bay, and I'll admit, and I tell people this, I came here kicking and screaming. I mean, you can see the claw marks as they drove me to Southeast Georgia.
Yeah.
Why would I want to come to the swampy, buggy, smelly, nasty, hot? That was my impression, Allison, because I pulled in here one time when I was on a boat in Groton, and we came in like the middle of like August, and it was
Yeah.
miserable for the time we
Yeah.
were here. And I really didn't get a chance to see much of anything. But then after a year of being here, right, we learn what everyone learns if you've ever been down here.
That I tell them magic happens. I can't explain it, but
I refer to this place routinely as a little slice of heaven.
I was hoping you were going to say that because you always say it.
100% is. It is people always ask me, why do you say that? I was like, well, first and foremost, if you've been down here, the people are truly amazing. I mean,
100%.
Absolutely amazing. If you want to think about just a group of kind, considerate, ethical, I mean, people who really truly care about you as a human being.
Agreed.
This is an amazing community, right? It always says it takes a village. This is
the ultimate village.
100%.
I love it.
I would agree with that. And I visited a lot of different places, and I feel privileged to have done that. But I would definitely say that's that. And then just everything else that's offered about here. I mean, you're 3 hours from like Pickett. If you like to hunt, check. Fish, check. Golf, check. Hey, I want to go ride roller coasters, check.
You got it.
It's covered. Right?
Yeah.
You want a good cup of coffee? Just go right up the street here. Right?
Yes.
You got everything you need. So, and that to us was a really deciding factor. The school systems were great. Both my kids graduated from here, and the school system has been wonderful. Yeah, so it was an easy no brainer to say, yeah, definitely, this is where we want to retire. Right? This is where that strong sense of belonging, right?
Yeah.
Sense of purpose, sense of self-worth. This resonates in this community. And that's why we build our home here.
I wish you knew how many people actually say to me, from you to realtors, just anybody that I'm talking to that actually moved here, that they didn't grow up here. They're like, I came here kicking and screaming, like you said. And then I'm telling you, something happens and we all talk about it. I don't know. You meet people here and there's a community and a community feel and just something I can't explain. That's just, it's just amazing here. And everybody's like, I'll never leave.
It's addictive. It's like a virus.
Yeah, it is.
I see that in a good way because somebody says, really? You say that as a virus?
Right.
Like, no, it is very infectious, but it's infectious in such a positive way. That's not to say, growing up in Central Pennsylvania, I have such fond memories of my life. And my family, everything we do up there, which I still keep in contact with. I wish I kept more contact with than I did. You always want to be close to where you grew up. I think there's that affinity to draw. And that's a hard decision you make in life. I think once you get a little older, you have kids, and you kind of look at what you value in your life, you have to make compromises.
Yeah.
And I think that was the largest compromise. I'd say of all the decisions I had to make, that was one of the hardest decisions to make was, hey, where am I going to retire at?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I've made a lot of hard decisions in my naval career. That one was tough.
But I didn't realize how many of our small business owners are retired from the Navy, right, and that chose to come back here and stay and make their life here.
EDICIMAD, right?
Yes,
that's a real thing down here.
Yep.
I remember the first time I heard. I tell that story too. I remember the first time I learned of the term EDICIMAD. I was at a change of command ceremony when I got down here. I was new XO on Alaska Gold. And I sat beside this woman, and when they said EDICIMAD from the stage, I was like, EDICIMAD. She reached over and put her hand on my leg, and she said, every day in Camden County is Military Appreciation Day. That was Sheila McNeal.
I was about to say, was it Sheila? It had to be.
McNeal.
Yes.
That was my first experience with her when I met her. I was like, oh, I had no idea what that meant.
Oh, she pushed it. Oh. Like as soon as I got here, that was the first thing she told me. You need to learn what this means. And I was like, okay, what does it mean? But it's true.
It's not a bumper sticker. It really is a culture. It's a way of life. It really is. And you can see the signs. You'll know EDICIMAD when you feel it.
Yeah.
And I've definitely, and I can say my sailors and my Marines and Coast Guardsmen here, they feel that. And that's this community.
Absolutely.
I think that's also what makes it very special. I've been to a lot of military installations. None felt in the community quite like this. Not to say that there aren't others like it out there, but I just haven't experienced them.
I haven't either.
Kings Bay has just been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's get down to the stuff that I really want to talk about. So first things first, you're the captain of the base, but for everybody that doesn't know, because I didn't have a good understanding of it when I first met you. I'm like, I don't even know what he does. He's just over everything. Like that was, that's in my mind, that's just what it meant. So what does it mean to be captain of the base?
It means it's a fantastic job.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe I've been in this job for almost 4 years now, but the commanding officer of the submarine base, the captain, as it stands, is overall responsible for the Navy equities on the federal property here, which is the base. So a lot of people equate this job to being like the mayor of Kings Bay, like if you're the mayor of Kingsland, the mayor of St. Mary's. I'm responsible for the infrastructure. I'm responsible for the utilities.
Okay.
I'm responsible for security. I'm
Mm-hmm.
responsible for fire and emergency services. And then ultimately, if you think about even like within the community, there are many little businesses. Well, there are literally many little businesses and commands, as we say, inside the wire, that I work with them and coordinate with them to have them all work in harmony to execute our nation's mission as it relates to the Navy mission, the Marine Corps mission, and most importantly, the strategic deterrent mission that we do here on the base. So that's to summarize it. The best way to say it is I'm the mayor of Kings Bay.
I love that. So just for people that don't know, because I think I take for granted that I get to, learn a whole lot. I learn a whole lot every day. So I want to just give for people that don't know, why is Kings Bay so important to like our national defense?
Right. And we use two terms here, sometimes interchangeably. You'll hear talk about strategic deterrence and nuclear deterrence. So for the base and the mission we execute, we protect our country and our forward deployed forces and our allies from foreign aggression through this credible, reliable, and survivable nuclear deterrent or strategic nuclear deterrent capability here in Kings Bay. That's our submarines and the whole system. Think about the people. What does that really mean? So, we wield with strength and honor the most deadly weapons man has ever created for the defense of our nation and others. From a Navy perspective, this nuclear triad, right? There are three elements from the land, sea, and air. We are the seaborne portion of that one. And we actually are responsible for 70% of the daily deployed arsenal. So we think about it, we play a very large role in strategic nuclear deterrence. In reality is when one of those submarines gets underway, they're the sixth largest nuclear power in the world. So there's a lot of firepower in one of those vessels when they leave. So our job day to day here is to make sure that those ships and sailors and everything that supports them is fit to fight 24/7, 365 and a quarter days out of the year, so we can continue to go out and provide strategic nuclear deterrence for our country, for our forward deployed forces, for our allies. And we do that every day. And it happens in the background like clockwork.
Right here in our community. That's what's so, that's just crazy to me, that all that's right here in our community, like the base for that, all that happening. And speaking of the base, so when I say base, I'm thinking the actual property, that's Kings Bay, that makes up Kings Bay. So, but when some people think base, they think it's just Navy, that all that's on that base is like Navy personnel.
Right.
And that's not true. What all is on the base?
It's interesting. I think if you look back, in early movies when we talk about the military, it used to be like Army, Navy, Air Force. Yeah, we all fight our little war. Goldwater, Nichols, and 86 changed the way we did business. You can't do a warfare area without thinking joint, or you hear people say like joint or purple, where it's more than one branch of service, right? So on the base, I have a lot of Navy sailors. I also have a lot of Marines on my base. I also have a lot of Coast Guardsmen on my base. I even have a few Army on my base who help us with some things. So we all work together executing strategic deterrence, because it is a joint mission that we do on the base.
I wonder if people knew that. You also have defense contractors on base, correct?
We do. I mean, everything that we do, if you think about the high technology, and I got to be honest with you, if you're a geek like me, right, submarines is definitely the way to go. So, I mean, most complex piece of machinery man has ever created. And you think about what it does. It covers every engineering discipline. There's so many of the things you have to deal with to overcome just being able to submerge a vessel like that out in the ocean.
Listen,
it's fantastic.
It's mind blowing a little bit, because I didn't realize just how much and how I want to say it's very cool. It's just very cool, and how we are our nation's last defense. So when it comes to nuclear stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Right. With the submarines, I just being in that tube. I've actually gotten to go on a submarine, and I've actually been to, I don't know if it's TRF or TTF that has the simulator stuff where
Triton Training Facility.
Yes. So I've been there, and when I got to see the water shooting out of pipes and stuff, and I'm like, wait, this is serious, and it was just so cool. I had no idea what all went into a submarine and how big they are and just all the things. It was just, it blew my mind.
It's if you're a technologist, if you think about the modern technology that we see, and we bake that into these platforms to make them that credible, reliable, and survivable asset to go do this mission.
Right.
That's what's fascinating about it. I mean, it's everything from aerospace to mechanical. I mean, you name it. All the engineering disciplines, all the physics disciplines are all wrapped into that black steel tube. And if you think about the sailors who man that ship and do those things, the young men and women of our country, amazing patriots, super smart people, and they have a thirst for this stuff, and they're able to do this job so professionally well, and it's exciting for I just get excited even talking.
Yeah, I can tell.
The people, the technology,
Yes,
the mission, because it's so important. What the people do are so brilliant. What the technology you have, it is so cutting edge. You tie all it together, man, the tip of the spear is very sharp, and you don't want to be at the other end of that tip of the spear.
And just to think about like how many submarines that you have to almost lose early on when you're learning like all the things about how to build a submarine and all. And when I went to the World War II Memorial and I got to see the list of all the submarines, like, that we lost, and we haven't lost one since the Scorpion and the Thresher.
Right.
So it was just crazy to me. I got I was filled with such emotion, and it made me go and read books. I started reading different things, and I just started surrounding myself with people that could teach me a little bit more about submarines and about the submarine force. I just think it's so amazing. Now I know that we're planning to get a new class of submarines called the Columbia class. Correct?
Yep.
Is that going to be starting in what, 2028?
Yeah. So correct. So 2028 it's pretty much like everything else. There comes a point in life where you have to move on to the next thing because it's getting old.
Yeah.
Submarines. I will tell you, the Ohio class submarines that we use today for strategic deterrent, the SSBNs, right?
SSBN.
SSBN stands for Ship Submersible Ballistic Nuclear. So it's a ballistic missile submarine. It's got a nuclear power. It's got a nuclear reactor in it. It's a submersible ship. So that's how all those letters come together. But that class of ship, Ohio, it was designed back in the late 60s, 70s. We started fielding it. Still way ahead of its time and its capability. But it's like, if you ever play with a paper clip, right? You ever take a paper clip and kind of bend it back and forth? Eventually it snaps.
It will snap.
Right? The hole's a lot like that. So there's, we over-engineer a lot of this stuff to design and last for combat. But at some point, the hole doesn't last as long. And while the technology is relevant, you have to change out the class. It's true of every platform, right?
Absolutely.
Something eventually, we over-engineer it and we can get a lot out of it. But at some point, we have to make a decision, is that where we need to move on. And the Columbia was always the next class to come forward, right? The one that will deliver. It's just like the 41 for Freedom originally were part of our, sea-based strategic deterrent. Ohio was the follow-on class to that.
Okay.
Columbia, so too, is the follow-on class to Trident. And somewhere way down the road, probably well up into the 2060s, 2080s timeframe, we'll talk about the next platform. But Columbia is a new platform coming online for us for strategic deterrence. The first ones are expected to arrive here in Kings Bay in the 2028 timeframe. So we have been busy as a base and as an enterprise writ large preparing for that. We need to be ready to do training for the sailors and the people
That's what I was going to ask.
and Civ by 2026, right? We got to be ready to do maintenance on these classes, this new class of ship, the technology it brings with it here in 2027, because the first one's shown up in 2028. So a lot of the activity you see us doing, we've been working diligently and making those benchmark dates for us so we can be ready to support Columbia when it comes.
That is wild. There's been a lot of talk about the Trident Refit facility, also known as TRF, expanding its civilian force for this. Can you clarify the relationship between like the military personnel and the civilian roles?
Oh, sure, absolutely. There are two large employers, if you would, on the base. And if you really kind of think about the demographics, I'll break this down. This might help for your audience a little bit. You think about the base itself. There's roughly about 6,000 active duty sailors. Those are the think about the folks who are manning the submarines and the squadrons, to the folks at the training facility or TREFF, the aggregation of them. They come with about 7,000 dependents. So that's right there. You think about the size of just the active duty folk. There are about 4,000 DoD civilians. Think about the employees that work at TRF or work at Strategic Weapons Facility Atlantic or something like that. And then there's anywhere between, wax and wane between 2,000 to 5,000 contractors that work on a base doing various things, like when we're doing construction or any other services around the base. TRF, Trident Reef Facility, employs about 17 to 1,800 civilians who all skill trades that essentially, they take these submarines and when we do repair work on them, they make them brand new out of the box, fit to fight, ready to go right back out to sea. Anywhere from, welding to working on electronics, you name it, every technical discipline that would go with a shipyard. That's really what we have here in Kings Bay. There's only about 300 active duty sailors or military folks who are at TRF as well. So if you look at the population, there's 300 military, 1,700 civilian jobs. And there's always a demand signal for skills. That's why Trident Reef Facility here is so many different programs and involvements with the local community here.
What are some of these skills that, just for our people listening, that they're going to be looking for, especially at TRF?
So you talk about I always talk about welders, right?
Welders.
We always need welders. There's a good one. Electricians, all kinds of electricians, from think power electronics to microelectronics. We need people to do those. Ship fitting. If you're good at I think of this as they're the Lego artists, right? If you need to fit things together, ship fitters, whether this pipe goes here, this targeted bracket goes here, people who have the ability to do this. Think about if you had to take your vehicle to, say, a mechanic, and there's if you pop your hood nowadays, you're like, wow, that's pretty complex. Submarines even more complex.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
We need someone who can do every one of those elements. Think about the repair, understand how it works, repair it, and be able to make it ready to fight and win our nation's wars. So all those skills are available. There's a lot of ways that you can get involved in that and look for those jobs. They do. I know Facebook page for Trident Reef Facility always has guidance on best where to find some opportunity, find employment there. I know we have apprenticeship programs. I have a couple of my daughter and my son's friends they graduated with who are working there right now. Came under the apprenticeship program where they spent a couple months at the community college, a couple months in an apprenticeship, learning some real skills. You do that for 2 or 3 years. You earn your apprenticeship, which is actually a national accreditation. And then you continue working there, doing great things, building your skill set, moving up the chain of command. Those are necessary skills. Those are true patriots we need each and every day in order to take because these ships just don't go to sea by themselves. I need highly qualified folks to take them to sea. But to be mission ready, we have to get the people ready to go to sea. But the warship needs to be ready to go to sea. And that's truly what TRF and the civilians who work there, they are patriots. The people who work at that facility, they do some phenomenal things. And I would argue it was one of the main reasons why I elected to stay down here to be a commanding officer at Tennessee Gold when the time came. It was Trident Reef Facility convinced me this is where it was at.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, I think a lot of people in Camden, I hear it all the time in different meetings I'm at, or if I'm just talking with somebody, they always tell me, oh, well, the base is adding all these people. That's where all these new housing developments are coming in. It's the base. It's the base. And when they say that, they automatically equate it to the Navy. The Navy. It's the Navy. The Navy's doing this. And can you kind of speak to that and explain that a little bit to people? Because it's not the Navy necessarily. Right?
No, that's fair. I get those very same questions from around here. So, and it's rightful to think about that because if you think about the history of the area down here, when the base was built in the 80s, there was a lot of growth that was driven by the base. So it's naturally to assume conventional wisdom would say that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in this case, I have to say no. It's not the case. So if you think about the total number of submarines that are here in Kings Bay, we have 8 Ohio-class submarines who are here right now. 2 are guided missile submarines. That's the Florida and Georgia. And the other 6 are the ballistic missile submarines that I talked about that remain here. As the Columbia class comes online on 28, it's kind of like as one car shows up, one of the cars are going to go away.
Okay.
And that's exactly. So the number of submarines and crews here now and into the future, they're going to stay relatively the same. Yeah, now the guided missile submarines are getting a little old. We're going to essentially be looking at down the road here, the Navy will be looking at opportunities that these will likely have to be decommissioned. So the numbers may drop by 1. But overall, the number of submarines here are pretty consistent. If you think about it, we're not raising or lowering the number of sailors that are on these submarines.
That's what I was going to ask.
So
Is it going to take more submarines on
No.
this Columbia class?
Yeah, it's the same number of sailors for the most part that are on these ships. So the number of people associated with that isn't going to change much. Therefore, if you think about the workload for Trident Refit Facility, it's going to be pretty stable now and in the future, because the Ohio or the Columbia classes really are platform through 2080. That's kind of the perspective we look at this platform as they come online. What strategic weapon facility Atlantic does for the missile systems, the weapon systems, that's going to remain stable. There's probably a little bit of growth there in the coming years as, again, so too, as we develop the next systems that support the platform, there's probably a little growth there, but not a lot. So if you look at all that in aggregation, beyond the contract employees who come in the area who help us with recapitalization. So these new platform coming online, you can imagine we have to expand some things like the training facility, a couple additional laboratories that need to be added to it. The refit facility, there's a couple new buildings and spaces, or actually really it's not buildings, it's more additions to buildings to do some of those skill sets. Those temporarily are going to probably bring more people into the area. And I would say that's about anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people. But overall, our population on the base, it's been pretty stable, and it's going to be pretty stable in the future. From a Camdenite, I consider myself looking out. Is we have definitely had a boom in workforce here. Just look at the economy. I mean, I think back to why I originally never wanted to come to Kings Bay to work. Right now, it's night and day. And I offer to anybody it's been a year. I would say if it's been 10 years since you've been to Kings Bay, you don't know Kings Bay. You do not know Camden County. You just don't. It's a totally different world. And I think a lot of people are smart to our little slice of heaven and want to move down here and take a part of it. And I really see that in the people in my community I interact with, and certainly the folks who are working on my base. So bottom line, I would say that what I'm doing on the base and what the Navy's doing on the base with population, pretty stable. What we're doing out in the community, I think everybody is taking the opportunity and looking at what a great place this is to live. And they've been welcomed with open arms, and the population's growing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I have a question with the expansion of certain things. Are there any possibilities for our small businesses or businesses in general or contractors to get involved in some of this? Like, is there any way they can get involved?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think they already are in many ways, if you think about this. So, when it comes to contracting, and certainly when you contract a big job, it's really, there's a lot of subcontracting. So there are a lot of different, if you look at it from a subcontractor perspective, there are a lot of businesses here in Kings Bay who have business on base who do things. So that's always an advantage. If you think about just annual economic impact of the base here, adjusted for 2025, we're talking roughly $1.5 billion annually that the base brings in, which is great. Helps to really sustain our community. But it's more than that. Hey, people need a place to eat, right? People need a place to shop for their goods. People need a place to rent or buy to sleep. We as a community provide all of those things. And that's why I say as a community, EDICIMAD, I think we're already doing that. There's always opportunity to continue to provide support. And there are a lot of people already providing tremendous support to us. I think there's always growth opportunities. I'm always trying to fit food trucks on my base and stuff like that. And I'm always looking for how we can find, restaurants and things of that nature who can do more and partner with it. And we always look for those opportunities. We're like, when we hold shindigs on the base for the population is, step one is always figure out who in the community is there and who we can kind of draw into. So we're always looking for opportunities. I would just argue the other thing, we have a lot of feedback mechanisms. If you think there's a great way in which we can make our little slice of heaven just that much sweeter, all ears. Hit me with it. Want to hear it.
Well, I want to say, like, you were so accommodating when Lisa from Fleet and Family and I were talking about doing the tour. You said yes. And I was like, okay. He said, yes, we can do it, this tour. And then you've been so supportive through the whole process. But the military tour, we've been almost doing that. July will be 2 years now. Can you believe it?
It is amazing. And I totally 100% blame you and Lisa for its tremendous success. I'm going to tell you that right now. No, I appreciate it. But I mean, this is an example of just common sense. Right? Hey, a lot of people come down here, just like me when I said came kicking and screaming. Why? Well, there's a reason for that. Well, how about we go show them why that's not the real
Yeah.
County. That's not what's here.
No.
It's a win-win. There's so much to and the sailors and the families, as you well know, you see it in their eyes, you hear their voice like, wow, this is great. I'm so glad we did this. And it was such a simple thing for you all to come up with, but the way you presented it and did it, I just can't tell you how much it improved the quality of life and quality service for everybody. But not just inside the wire, but outside the wire.
Yeah.
Those are the sort of things always, I and my successor I know are interested in. How can we make that better? How do we make our little slice of heaven, our little community that much better? Because it takes a village, and everybody's involved in that village.
Absolutely.
So,
it's just been so cool to see. Like I get the sailors in the morning, and they're like they're not enthused. They're like, what is this mandatory day of fun about? Like, what are we doing?
Because we've all been there.
Yes, we've all been there. And I laugh because I tell them, I'm like, just bear with me. I promise you'll find places and you'll have the time of your life today. And by lunchtime, they're like, well, where are we going this afternoon? Well, okay, so we are doing St. Mary's. Okay. And they just get excited and I have buy-in, and it's just really cool. And they always ask me different questions. Like I'll get questions about the gnats, the biting gnats, and then I'll get questions about churches or, just anything where they can game, where they can do this, where they can do that. And it's just really cool. And it's even better on our side of it because the small businesses are seeing them come back. And that's the connection piece. And so we're trying to connect them to clubs, running clubs, this club, that club. If you like to sew, this is what you have, just whatever it is, we're trying to connect them to that. And it's been wonderful for our side. So we thank you here at the Chamber very much for letting us.
and we, from the Navy's perspective, say thank you because we appreciate you. I mean, y'all are eliminating fear, right? Everybody who comes here, what do you have the fear? Fear of, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to get this. I don't know if I'm going to fit in. I don't know if I'm going to like this place. Every person has
all the
that.
things.
And any way in which we can ameliorate that and show people that those fears are truly unfounded. And I think that's the magic. It's so common sense. It's almost funny. But it is absolutely magical to watch it. So, no, thank you. I appreciate what you all do to make our sailors, soldiers, Marines, Coast Guards feel that much more welcome. EDICIMAD is that much sweeter with this. And I think, again, it's a win-win across the board for everybody.
Yeah. So I love to see how excited they get when I take them to see Keith Post at the Submarine Museum. They're like, whoa. They don't want to leave there. That's our longest stop of the day is at the Submarine Museum. Keith will, give him a little background about him and what the Sub Museum is and stuff, but they just want to look at everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to tell people, if you have not been to the Submarine Museum in St. Mary's, you have to go by there and check it out. It is really cool. I learned so much. I've actually borrowed books I need to take back to Keith. But yeah, it's amazing. We have covered a lot of territory, and I know eventually Kanan's probably going to cut us off, but is there anything you wanted to say? Because I know you're going to be leaving us soon.
I am. It's ultimately with command, you eventually roll. I've been blessed to be in this job as long as I have, but here in July 3rd, there's actually a little symmetry to it. I came in the Navy July 3rd, 1991. My change of command is July 3rd of 2025. And, I am going to retire this fall. Hard to believe, 34 plus years. It's just been a lot of fun. I like to tell people I've unsuccessfully got out of the Navy 7 times. So 8th time's a charm, I suppose.
Yes.
But I think that's just reflective of the quality of leaders that I've experienced, just the sense of purpose, self-worth, and just a sense of belonging that I've had in the Navy has kept me this long. And I really want others to see that and enjoy it. It's interesting coming into this podcast and talking to you. We talk so much about different things. Again, I'm thankful to have been a part of this and be on the thing, but I'm always looking for ways we can make our community better. You touched on a little bit as a Trident Reef facility. There's another one out there I offer a lot of people to look at, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say buildsubmarines.com. Is a great website. It's interesting because yesterday...
Listen, they had me wanting to build submarines. Go ahead.
I'll tell you. You go to that website, it's pretty, it is spot on. It's actually interesting because yesterday we had Brad Kozlowski, the number 6. He drives.
Yes, I saw the pictures.
He was on base yesterday with the car, so it was kind of fun. We were like little kids running around with the car everywhere, taking pictures of it. Ooh, put it over here, put it over there. So
it was so cool.
We had so much fun.
Yeah,
it was a great time. But he's really highlighting something that's very important to us in our nation. if you don't understand how submarines and how strategic deterrence plays in such a vital role of our country as it existed and as it exists today and needs to exist tomorrow, look no further than buildsubmarines.com. There are jobs in all 50 states for highly motivated people, all ages, all backgrounds, to go do things of a technical nature or not even of a technical nature that help us build submarines. Submarines are the clearly history has shown the platform that go get it done. And we need talented people, talented Americans, patriots to get out there and help us with
Absolutely.
it. So buildsubmarines.com. If you haven't been to it, I encourage you to. If you got grandkids who's like, hey, I'm not sure what they want to do with life, send them to buildsubmarines.com. You're graduating high school and you're not sure what I want to do with your life, buildsubmarines.com. You're in college and you're like, well, I don't know if this is what I want to do, or even after your degree, I might want to get something, buildsubmarines.com. I think it's a fantastic spot.
Yes, and that I will say the commercials for that are amazing. And I actually got on the website and watched the video, and I was like, oh, yeah. I'm too old, I think, but I want to build submarines. Like it was just really cool. So I love it. But thank you for your time. And something I want to say to you is thank you for coming into this community, getting involved, and loving its people. You did that, and like since I have been here, it has just been amazing to watch and see. Not everybody does that, and so I'm very thankful that you did that, and you love this little place that we call home. So I just appreciate the way you've come in here and everything you've done to love and look out for our community here. You really have erased the fence line. I know it's still technically there, but you have erased some of it, and it's made it it's brought us together and helped connect a lot of things in our community. So I just really appreciate your openness and willingness to jump in and get involved and love us. So it's just been really cool. So thank you.
Thank you, Alison. And I can't say enough about this community and how they've welcomed us and myself and my family as part of the community. And we're excited to continue to be a part of this community.
Listen, I told you I'm putting you to work like July 5th. You can come in.
Challenge accepted. See how long you keep me around.
Yeah.
So, but
we'll see how long you stay.
And I appreciate it. You doing things of this nature for our community to kind of highlight what we do and some of the niche, nuanced things that people don't know. You're 100% a bright spot that we need to continue to clone this community. And I love what you do here. So you've taken the Chamber of Commerce in a tremendous direction, and I'm excited to see what episode 51 brings.
Right, we will see. Well, thank you so much, Captain Bohner, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Guys, you have caught the 50th episode of the Get in Your Business podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.